This is Nightlight with Pete Schwaba, starting off the fourth quarter here. Tomorrow night on the show, John Roach will be here, TV producer, screenwriter, and director of the outstanding film A Road at Night. John's been on before. He's going to talk about a screening they have coming up at the Driftless Film Festival. And then we have Carl Surecki, who is from Door County Trolley and tells really great ghost stories about Door County. So that's tomorrow night on Nightlight. Right now, we get back to our friend Rob Thomas, Madison-based film critic and CityCast at Madison Newsletter, who joins us from Madison. Rob, how you doing? You good?
I'm great.
I'm glad to hear that. It's always fun when you're here. I love talking movies with you. Tell us about Frankenstein.
So Guillermo del Toro has like wanted to make Frankenstein for like literally decades, and like he's kind of made kind of versions of this story. Like Shape of Water was about a monster and men, and like his last movie was Pinocchio, which is sort of a Frankenstein story, right? About a
Yeah.
maker and its creation. And so this idea of like the monster and human beings and who's the real monster. And so he's finally got a chance to make it uh, for Netflix. And he's obviously spent a long time thinking about this movie and this book and loving Mary Shelley's book because it's a very faithful adaptation. Um, in a good way, I think, for the most part. Oscar Isaac plays Dr. Frankenstein,
Oh,
and Jacob Elordi plays the monster, and like his performance is really incredible because he doesn't have the bolts in the neck like Boris Karloff.
right.
He doesn't sing "Putting on the Ritz" like in Young Frankenstein. Like he plays him like a giant infant, sort of, who's just like just the way he uses his body as he's sort of discovering existence is so different than anything you've seen in a
Oh, wow.
Frankenstein movie. It's really cool. And Oscar Isaac, I think, is pretty great. He plays him as uh, kind of like kind of like an Elon Musk tech bro who is like pursuing all these, radical medical developments and not thinking about the consequences. Um, I would say it's a little long, and the third act focuses mostly on the monster as he escapes, and it's a little dry after what's kind of gone on before. But in general, I liked it, and I was really happy I saw it on the big screen because like Del Toro uses build these huge sets, and there's all this detail, and so it's really worth seeing on a big screen to sort of drink all that in if you can.
Yeah. I assume there's no bathtub scene with Jacob Elordi in this with him as Frankenstein.
No, a salt burn type. No, I don't think so.
Okay, good. All right. Well, what did you think of Shape of Water? That movie, when I was done watching it, I liked it. I thought it was interesting, but man, I didn't know what the heck was going on. I mean, I could follow it, but I just didn't love it at the time, I
Oh,
guess.
I really liked it, and
Yeah.
it was probably one of the most surprising Best Picture wins in the last
Yeah,
20 years. I never
that's right.
thought the Academy would go for a movie like that, where a hot fish man seduces a woman, and basically, right. And but yeah, I mean, that's kind of like I said, it was sort of a Frankenstein story about this creature, and it's like more human than I remember the Michael Shannon character was sort of this government agent. And yeah, I really liked it. I haven't watched that, I don't think, since I saw it in theaters 10 years ago. But
Rob, I want to ask you about what do you think of Roofman?
I really liked Roofman. I
Same.
was quite honestly a very pleasant surprise. Like I've always liked Channing Tatum, but he's often not really gotten roles that kind of I don't know. He's so like he's such a hunk, but he's also such a goofball at the same time. Like
Right.
I think the 21 Jump Street movies got that. Magic Mike a little bit, but
Magic
like
Mike, yeah.
yeah. And this one he plays a real life character, this sort of gentleman burglar who would rob McDonald's, but was very nice to the employees as he was robbing them. Like there's a story at the beginning of the film where he herds all the employees into the freezer, but gives them a big coat to keep them
Gives him-
warm. Yeah, it's so great. Like he's like you're just won over by this guy, and
And then he calls the cops to go and get them
right,
outright, so
he
he
just
knows
like
they're not going to freeze.
he
Yeah.
doesn't want to get the sniffles. Yeah, he's just
Right.
robbing them.
Right.
And so the whole movie, he's kind of like this nice guy, but he's also a criminal. He breaks out of prison. That's a great scene sequence, by the way, and hides
Yeah.
out in like a Toys R Us. Like he, and
So cool.
Yeah, and then I mean, the one thing is that like he has this romance with a woman who works there, played by Kirsten Dunst, who's great. But it's hard for me to believe that nobody figured out that this was the guy. And like he basically led this whole double life where he was like going to church and going on dates and stuff like that. But it's just a very winning sort of comedy drama, kind of like they don't make him any like that anymore kind of movie that I'm
Yeah.
really happy to see. Yeah.
Yeah, he was good, and I liked the message at the end. Like, I don't want to give spoilers, but he said, I wanted to get all this stuff for my daughter and my
Right.
kids and material things, and he goes, and all they really needed was time with me. And it's such a heartbreaking message, but it rings true, and it's I was surprised by how much I liked it.
Yeah. Yeah. It was one of the pleasant surprises of the fall.
Yeah. So let's get to another one that you saw,
Sure.
Rob. Blue Moon. This looks so good, and it's reviewing really well. This is Ethan Hawke, who is playing Lawrence Hart, who was the kind of the Pete Best of the Rogers and Hammerstein. He left, or I can't remember which one he was paired up with, but he was no longer, or he went off on his own, I guess. And Ethan Hawke plays him at that time, right, when he was readjusting to life by himself.
Yeah, well, I mean, Rogers and Hart had been together writing songs for musicals and movies for like 25 years. And like he wrote like My Funny Valentine, and he wrote Blue Moon, the title. Like he wrote all these songs that are considered standards today. But yeah, this film takes place on the opening night of Oklahoma, which was Rogers' first musical without him, with Oscar Hammerstein.
Yeah.
Theater kids know all this. So
I was in that show. That's
were you really?
Yeah, I was in high school. Yeah.
So yeah, it was a big hit, right? Yeah. So and so Hart sees it like, oh, this is passing me by. Like this is going to be the biggest hit in Broadway history, and I'm being left behind. And it's all set basically one set or one location, this bar where the rap party is going to be, or the opening night party. And like Hawk is like, I've never seen him in a movie like this before, where he plays like a totally different kind of character than he is. He's like this, kind of needy, quippy, but really desperate and sad man who is sort of lurking in the shadows as his former partner gets all this glory. The film, like he looks different. And Lawrence Hart in real life was like 4'10" or something like that. So they shoot him. So he's very small in a way that's kind of distracting, but also kind of convincing, and kind of helps you let go of it being Ethan Hawke and making you believe it's this different person.
Kind of a Clifford vibe with Martin
little
Short.
Bit, a little bit. I mean, it's not quite Dorf where he does the thing where but it approaches that.
Yeah.
But he's really good at it. I mean, really, it's the movie's built around his performance, which is pretty fantastic.
I'm excited to see that. Rob Thomas is my guest. He's a Madison-based film critic and is the editor of the CityCast Madison newsletter. A great read, so definitely check that out as well as Rob's work on his Substack. So, is this like a potential Oscar role for Ethan Hawke?
I would think so. Yeah, just because it's like, I mean, the Oscars kind of go for that kind of like transformation, especially if you're playing a real person. Like I just saw, I haven't reviewed it yet, but I just saw the new Sydney Sweeney movie, Christie, where she plays that pro boxer.
Oh yeah, the boxer. Yeah.
She's really good in it, and is completely different than you've ever seen her before. And that's the kind of thing that Oscar voters seem to really like, is when you can really catch somebody acting, right? Like,
I hope that doesn't affect her soap sales. That's my biggest.
I think she'll be okay. I think she'll be okay. Yeah.
Yeah, you're all sweaty. You're boxing. What better way?
Right. Yeah.
Soap up the loofah with your own soap. So you said, or I read your Substack review of Ballad of a Small Player with Colin Farrell. You seem kind of lukewarm on it.
Yeah, that comes out tomorrow on Netflix. And yeah, like I said in the review, I was never bored, but I was never really satisfied. Like it's Colin Farrell plays this high rolling gambler in Macau, which is, I think, a province in China, which is like basically the Vegas of the of that part of the world. It's just
East,
all casinos and these luxury hotels. And at first you think he presents himself like this, this upper crust Brit, but then you start learning more about who he really is, and it's him trying. He's losing badly. He's trying to get that one big score to kind of pay off his debts. And the film is like beautiful. It's like pink, all these neon, and it's really fast moving. It was shot by the guy who made Conclave, which is very strange. It feels like a totally different looking movie. But it's just, there's kind of not much there. Like, it's like he's not that sympathetic a character. And at some point, you're like, you don't really care whether he gets his money back or not. And then even he doesn't seem to really care. So, like, Farrell's good, but it's like, I think you could start watching it, and within 5 minutes, you would know whether it's a movie for you or not.
Well, Colin Farrell seems to have that issue in a lot of movies. He doesn't often play really likable characters. Is that on purpose, do you think, or is it just him?
I don't know. I mean, he's in like every frame of this movie, like his front and center and close up. And, I think they're trying to make him this interesting, dark character with a lot of shades to him. And I just wasn't that interested in him, to be honest with you. It's like I've seen a variation of this movie a lot of times where somebody is an addict, in this case to gambling, and it's kind of like going down the tubes basically. And it was just sort of strange. It was kind of like, this is the whole movie. Like, it's not gonna be anything other than this. And there's some fake out plot twist in the middle, which I sort of thought they were like kind of getting a little desperate to have something happen. And it's like I said, it's a beautiful looking movie, but I just didn't have much substance to it.
Rob, what about another film, The Mastermind, you reviewed? This fascinated me. I want to hear your thoughts on the film, but on Rotten Tomatoes, it got like mid-90s critics, and the audience meter was 32%. Where's the discrepancy there? What the heck happened?
I believe it. It was, I go to these AMC screen mystery movies.
Yeah.
And that was the movie a couple of weeks ago. And like, I could tell the audience was just not into it, because it's sort of like a heist movie. But then it sort of peters out, becomes something different. And I think it's kind of based on a true story back in 1970, where this guy stole a bunch of paintings from a museum in Massachusetts. And so it's sort of set up like a heist, but then he gets caught and has to go on the run. I loved it as sort of a character piece. The director, Kelly Reichardt, is one of my absolute favorites. And it's just so good at like getting the vibe and the details of 1970 America, right? It's like during the Vietnam War and the protests, but this guy, played by Josh O'Connor, is just very focused on like his own thing. So it's kind of a movie that I think promises more of a genre thriller than it ends up being, and I bet that probably frustrates some viewers. I really vibed with it.
I've got one more movie to ask you about after this very short break, and then Rob is going to tell us about one or two things that are happening in our state's capital before Halloween. We'll do that next on Nightlight with Pete Schwaba on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Just move yourself and